Okay, we are getting close to the beginning of season 4, so I am making an instructional video here for the version 4 of the Calculation League app. Like the previous videos, this video is going to cover the updates since the prior version was released. Is not going to go back and cover the basics, so if you are using Calculation League app for the first time, you may need to watch one of the earlier videos that shows the basics of how the app is used. There's also the frequently asked questions page on the website. So for season 4, there aren't major changes in the sense that there are no completely new modes that function completely differently than the prior version. Instead, there are some um, balancing changes to the blitz modes as to how the questions are distributed, and there is also some improvements to the single player practicing. So for blitz mode, it is true. I'm not going to talk about this, but it is true that there are slightly different slightly different question formats for some of the question categories. There's some minor differences. Also, some categories have been made a little bit easier. A few categories have been made a little bit more difficult, but we're obviously not going to explore the details of each of the categories in this video. So I'm going to put in some information here. As a reminder, there are detailed formatting options. You can change the size, spacing, text weight, and colors for pretty much anything. Okay, so Blitz regular season, playoffs, and finals, you're going to see something different here for the single player modes. When you click on this, you are going to get customization options for single player. Now, if you click on League Match, you're not going to customize the league matches, but for practice, you now have customization options. I'll go over the basics of the league match changes first. The league match change, as you can see here in the customization, we are going to have 4 categories per mini match now. There will be 2 complex categories, 1 standard, 1 multi-operation. Last season there was only 1 complex category. Rather than the fixed order that occurred in season 3, where you get 1 multi-operation, then 1 standard, and then 1 complex, they are going to be shuffled and then randomly distributed. So they have weights now. The multi-operation category is 35%, standard is 25%, and each of the complex questions are 20%. But they will be randomized at the beginning of the mini match. So if you're doing a small subset of the total number of questions, it's not going to exactly match those numbers, obviously, and it could vary rather meaningfully. Otherwise, you have the options to pick specific complex and standard categories. This you can see the whole list of complex categories here. For complex categories, I've tried to clean it up a little bit compared to season 3. So some of the categories have been consolidated. So we have even roots and odd roots. Odd roots is, for example, 5th and 7th roots. Even roots is 4th, 6th, and 8th roots. We have 1 fractions category, 1 exponents category instead of cubes and squares and exponents. And the 4 irregular or decimal roots and exponents categories have been folded into a single category. These categories for league matches do not all have a weight of 1. They're weighted, and I will send out the weights to the competitors before we start. But this is the full list of categories. The only new category as of right now is a limited factorization category. The factorization category that we used in season 3, it was a randomly generated number. It could have multiple large primes. It could be a prime number itself. The factorization limited category has a largest maximum prime. For regular season, that is 29. For playoffs, that is 59. And for finals, if I recall, it is 113. So there cannot be a prime number larger than that. The number itself cannot be prime. Everything will fit within that rule. So other than that, for practice mode, if you leave the settings the way they are, the exact percentages, and leave the categories at random, you will play a practice mode the same as it existed before, meaning they will randomly generate the categories and the questions, and then you will have a series of mini matches with the time limits that are used in the matches. But if you change anything on this customization, you will instead be in a sort of practice mode. And then if you pick any of the specific categories, or if you change the numbers on the category percentages, you will go. It will be there will no longer be any mini matches. There will no longer be a time limit for how long you go. Instead, you will just get the number of questions that you picked, and then it will end. So if if you had 10 questions, it will go through 10 questions and it will end. It doesn't matter if it takes you the full 5 minutes to do the 10 questions. You will get as much time as you need to finish the number of questions you selected, and there will only be one mini match. Apart from that, the stats are back, the stats that were used in Season 2. So you will have the detailed question by question stats in the league in matches, or if you're doing 2-player mode, you will get the stats from your opponent, their question by question stats and category stats as well. Those stats, they were always there in Season 3. I turned them off because I was seeing a very small but consistent glitch involved that I did not solve before Season 3 started. I do not see that glitch anymore, and I'm hopeful that they are fixed, and then we can go back to the Season 2 stats. So otherwise, I can pick something random here to do. Okay, we will just do 50-50. And for explanation here, these percentages, they don't have to add up to 100%. As long as you don't put all zeros, they will work. And you can use them as ratios. You can do 2 1 1 1, and then it will fill out 40. Well, I guess there's 40 20 20 20. And you can turn one of them off. You can make one of them 0. I'm going to make this one 0. I'm going to make the multi-operation 20, 40, 40. Okay, let's see. So you can skip. I'm not going to solve the factorization right now. We're going to get through this really quickly. Okay, so you can see the stats that we had back in Season 2. Blue means it was skipped. I did not have any that I attempted but was incorrect. So that would be red. Green is a correct answer. You should always have the correct answer, whether you got it right or not. And of course, on a league match, you'd have the little league match scoring at the bottom. But otherwise, yeah, the stats are back to the Season 2 version. So this is the way it is now. It has been updated on the website. Between now and the start of Season 4, there will likely be some small changes. There may be a couple more complex categories that are added to the list, but there won't be any fundamental changes to how the app works or how the matches are structured for this season.